What's up guys, this is Mr. Faraway. Today I'm gonna teach you guys how to use the PKHeX. The PKHeX is a program that allows you to edit your save file from Pokémon X, Y, Omega Ruby or Alpha Sapphire. You can also create QR codes like the ones I've previously used in my videos. In a future video, I intend to teach you guys how to edit your save file regardless of the version of your 3DS. Yes, it can be used regardless of whether you updated your 3DS or not. Once you've mastered that, there will no longer be a need to read QR codes. So this is great news for those who updated their 3DS. Alright then, let's get it started. Time to learn how to create a Pokémon. The first thing I'm gonna teach you is how to create a Pokémon from scratch. The first thing you gotta do is, obviously, open up the program, PKHax. This program has everything you need to create a legit Pokémon from scratch. This is easier for Pokémon that can be bred. The first thing you gotta choose is which Pokémon it will be. For starters, I'll be picking Charizard. Why Charizard? More like why not? In order to pick a nickname for Charizard, you're going to have to check this box. Let's give him a name. I'll be naming him after the Japanese version of the game. Unchecking the box will make it so it doesn't have a nickname. After that, you can fill up the level. You can fill up any level up to 100 and the experience points are filled up automatically. Nature is next. Hardy is a neutral nature, but you can pick up any nature you want. You can also pick the item you will be holding. In this case, I'll be picking a Mega Stone. You can also pick the form of a Pokémon. You can actually make a permanent Mega Pokémon. However, since we're going for a legit Pokémon, we're not going to pick that. You can change the value of a Pokémon's friendship. You can pick the ability they have, and you can actually choose a hidden ability if that Pokémon has one. You can change the language of that Pokémon, not that it speaks any. You can define whether or not he is infected or cured from Pokerus. I always suggest to make him infected, even if it's a Pokémon that you plan on battling with. You can choose the country in which it was caught, and also the state. You can also pick the region of the 3DS you caught it on. Moving on to another tab, now we're going to select how this Pokémon was obtained. First you pick the game in which this Pokémon was caught or bred. Then, where you caught it or hatched it. Then, the ball in which this Pokémon is going to be held. I've selected as caught at level 1, since it was bred, and selected the checkbox that defines its obtained as egg. These options define where and when you got the egg. The Daycare Helpers is where you got the egg, and Lumiose City is where you hatched the egg. Make sure to make the dates the same to avoid any issue. After that, you can move on to the next tab, where you will fill up the stats. If you're watching this video, it's highly likely that you already know what to do here. You have to distribute the IVs and EVs according to what are your plans with this Pokémon. You're basically shaping up what will the stats of this Pokémon be. But that's assuming you already know what to do. But in case you don't, you basically need to make all IVs 31 and distribute the EVs in a way that it sums up to 508. Now that you're done with the stats, we can move on to the next tab. This is where you will define which moves this Pokémon knows. But first you have to define which moves this Pokémon was born with. Normally, you can fill these with the basic moves of the first evolutionary state of this Pokémon. In Charizard's case, It's Charmander's moves. However, you can add whichever egg moves you want, and even make it 4 egg moves if you want. In this case, I'm going to add Dragon Dance. Now you gotta add the moves that the Pokemon currently has. I'm gonna make a really simple moveset just so you know how it works. These are the moves that the Pokemon will have in the end. They don't have to match the egg moves that you chose, and you don't really have to pick more than one move. If you only pick one, it will be as if you have taken your Pokemon to the move deleter. After that, you can maximize every move's PP. Once you've chosen the amount of PP ups that have been used, the PPs of every move will be automatically updated. And now we'll reach the final tab. Unless you know both of your IDs, you can just fill this up with random numbers. If you know both, you can use your trainer name, but if you don't, you can put any name you want. You don't really have to mess with the other stuff, but I recommend that you mess with the memories. You can pick a very basic memory for your Pokemon. Try to think which memories this Pokemon would have if it was a Pokemon that you caught in-game, or if you bred in-game. You don't really have to think so much. You're just going to pick something that sounds legit. Let's see. Okay, this one. By reading it, I would say it sounds okay. The rest isn't that important. Now that you have finished everything else, let's go back to the first tab. This PID is important. You shouldn't leave it at 0, but it should be the last thing you do. You can actually change the Pokemon's gender and whether it's shiny or not, but if you pick it shiny, remember that you can only undo it if you click reroll. Now you're finished. Your Pokemon is ready. Now you can generate a QR code so you can share it with somebody. That person can then scan it, as shown in my tutorial video. But remember that to read the QR code, you'll need a 3DS that wasn't updated after March 2nd. Another way to share this Pokemon is to save it as a PKM file. A PKM file can be opened on anyone else's PKHeX program and inserted into a save file. You will soon learn how to inject a Pokemon into a save file. There will be a tutorial in my next video. There, you see? The PKM file is saved in the computer and can be shared. And you can also read this file with PKHeX. Alright, now you know how to make a Pokemon from scratch. But now there's something else you gotta learn. Alright guys, here's how to edit a save file. First, you open PKHeX. Then after that, you simply drag your save file into the window. You notice that a new part of the program has appeared. The new part has a lot of data that you can modify from your save file. For example, you can see every single box you have. These boxes can be read and modified. You can see every single Pokemon you have and edit most of them. You can see and modify your party Pokemon. You can also see but not modify your battle box. You can also see the Pokemon you left in daycare even though you can't modify them. You can also modify other things from your game, like for example, your trainer info, like language, your trainer name, and other stuff. You can modify items like you have 3 honey. You can change that value up to 999. You can modify other things as well, like for example, the Pokédex. You can even fill your Pokédex with the touch of a single button. But a really good thing that you can do is to modify a Pokémon or even clone Pokémon. Let's try something. I'm going to view this Swinoob. As you see, it has every single data that you could complete. It's nicknamed, it's at level 1, it was obtained as an egg, I hatched in Kilood. It has very good stats, and it has Freeze Dry and Icicle Spear as egg moves. Tackle and Other Sleuth are moves that Swinoob's already born with, by default. It's interesting to look at all that info after you've figured out how it works, isn't it? Once you view it, you can modify it however you want. Like for example, let's make this female Pokemon a male and make it a shiny. Let's also make its speed and special defense 0. How does that sound? Then we can use set, and this Pokemon is now this Pokemon with the modifications I've made. I could also replace this one if I wanted to. By clicking view, you can see everything about the Pokemon. By clicking set, you make this info into a Pokemon, and by clicking delete, you can remove that Pokemon. You can use this to fill up all your boxes with Pokemon you've generated, like for example that Lizardon. Let's do that. Remember the Lizardon we made with Fly and Earthquake? Alright, I just have to click set, and there you go. There is the Charizard that I've made. Once you've made all the modifications that you wanted to make, you can simply go and save and export the save. Now, the save file that we've created is here with the modifications that we've made. This save file can be inserted in the 3DS, and once you do that, all the modifications you've made in your computer are going to be there. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. In the next video, I'll teach you how to export, modify, and inject your save file back to your 3DS. And as you can see, by doing that, you can have any Pokemon you want. So, stay tuned! Also, if you're not subscribed yet, please subscribe. If you're already subscribed, remember to activate the notifications so that you never miss any new content. That's all for now. Stay tuned for the next tutorial. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.